All right, guys, thanks a lot. So our next speaker is Joshua Schroeder. He's going to be speaking about Burp Suite, and he's another Nova Hacka member. So a big round of applause. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for coming. Like I said, I'm Joshua Schroeder. There's my Twitter handle. I've got GitHub and LinkedIn if you guys want to add me in on there, if you find something of interest or have a question. So like you said, the format is, you can add questions, you can troll, whatever. Don't be afraid to stop me. So this is me. I'm a communications analyst for the federal government. Just want to put a disclaimer out there. This is all my own research. Nothing was done by them, using their resources, that kind of stuff. So my previous work is I've done, in school I did an internship for the Navy in their CND, developing NIST tools for them. Air Force, I've done web penetration. That was another internship. And I've also done a few months of work directly working for the CISO of UNC Charlotte, finding vulnerabilities for them. A lot of web penetration testing, as well as network scanning and closing vulnerabilities there. I also have previous experience doing some consulting, website design, and network setups for small and home users. I have a master's from UNC Charlotte in security and privacy. I spent a good time there setting up the Ethical Hacking Club 49th Security Division. We've gone to competitions and had weekly meetings when I was there, and I graduated 2012. So one of the competitions was ICTF, Santa Barbara College, that had a lot of different realm of different attacks there that we learned a lot from. And the other one was the Southeast Cyber Defense Competition, which I was a two-time winner of, and we went to nationals, which some of you are probably familiar with. On my free time, I do first-person shooters, Battlefield, Halo 4, Call of Duty. I live here in DC, and that's my girlfriend. I like traveling to cons, and now I'm going to go ahead and start talking about Burp Suite. So just an overview of what I'd like to talk about today. I'd like to talk about how you get Burp, differences between the pro and the free version. Burp, how you set it up with a proxy. I use Foxy Proxy because I'll show a little bit later how the basic concept of how Burp works and how you, are sending packets through Burp and replaying them and things like that. I also want to talk about, proxy tab and intercepting, basically what's going on there, and then how Burp caches that information so that you can work with it later or see what you did, if you were at a pen test and went back home and wanted to, see, exactly what, was going on with this, or maybe I missed something. We'll also use the target to show how you create a sitemap, which basically kind of gives you a hierarchy of, here's images, here's JavaScript, how the website is broken down, and exactly how it can be used to do other kinds of attacks. Also, I'll explain a little bit about the spidering methods, which is allows you to help build those sitemaps and the proxy history. I personally feel that it's better to go through manually and click things and see exactly what's happened. Because with this, it's just kind of like, doing it for you. So Burp has, a couple of things that you're able to use once you've gone through and collected some data. It has a repeater for repeating packets. You can modify them and resend them. It has the intruder, which you can throw payloads in, modify variables, and for example, like brute forcing either directories or passwords. It has the decoder and compare, which allows you to see as you're doing certain replays, what's going on. Is there a difference between this packet and that packet? Has something changed? Have you done something good? Have you gotten a successful login? It also has a new feature called the extender, which is an API framework that they're working so that you can get an API and build your own codes and scripts and use that with Burp to do some other cool things. I haven't honestly done too much with this. It's a fairly new feature, and I noticed that Swigger released another version just yesterday at Shmoocon. So in the demo, I'll explain the network layout that I had when I was using Burp to show the exploit, and then I'll also show some code that I use for doing network scanning. It's kind of like a just basic, simple IDS, not too advanced. It just kind of gives me an idea of what's going on my network and where do I need to poke and make sure things are closed down. All right, so basic concept of Burp. Hopefully, how familiar are you guys with proxies and use them at work? Okay. Well, normally with a proxy at a company, the idea is they're trying to watch and make sure that you're not going somewhere you shouldn't, and a host can't just get on your network and go wherever it wants. You can't exfiltrate data. You have to go through that proxy. They have to validate it, that kind of stuff. Well, with Burp, what's happening is you're basically rerouting all your packets through Burp, but instead of your company having that access and just watching it and blocking things, you're actually able to stop it, take a look at it, change it, and then resend it. So you can basically replay packets and manipulate them. And then, like I said earlier, you also have history now that you have on your system, so you can see what happened when you replayed the packets. So here's a basic overview of the Pro and free version. Most of the features are available in the free version. The Intruder does toggle or do time throttling, so it's not as fast as in the Pro version. That's just what they've decided to do. And then you also get some other options like saving and restoring. You have the search, you have the target analyzer, content discovery, and you can also do task scheduling for doing certain things. Set them up and have them run a specific time and then see what happened. So the current version they're on is version 1.5.05. The Pro version is right around $300. Burp's written in Java, so you can use it on Mac, Windows, Linux. Basically, you just get Java from java.com on Windows. You click burp.jar and it starts up. It's normally a zip file. On Linux, you just have to install Java, so apt-get, install the default.jare. If you use one of the older versions of Burp, there were some problems, but they've kind of gotten that ironed out. So you can use the unofficial releases of Java, so it works pretty well. So you just run on the command line wherever you download it, java.jar burp, and it pops up and you're ready to rock and roll. Mac, you just have to get the Apple updates to make sure you have Java, and then once again you double click for that. So, so setting up Firefox to work with Burp, you basically want to start it up. Go ahead and get Foxy Proxy, which is getfoxyproxy.org. I recommend going to View and Toolbars and adding the add-on because the add-on toolbar, because there'll be a little status bar that will show you whether you're actually using Foxy Proxy or whether you're not. As you can see in the bottom part of the slide here. So what you'll do is you'll right-click the proxy icon and select Options, and you click Add New Proxy. You'll select a port that's not being used. I generally like to use something like 2200. Stay away from 8080 because you might be running Tomcat or something like that, and it could kind of conflict. So then once you've done that, you select. Normally you want to do localhost or 127.0.0.1. and then click Save, and then right-click, and then click the proxy that you just selected. You'll go into Burp, you'll click Proxy, and then you'll click Options, and then what you'll do is click Add a new proxy, and then you put in the localhost or 127.0.0.1, and then the port that you selected. So now all your traffic is going through Burp. So what will happen the first time, you'll probably have Gmail open or some, jQuery, thing open, and so you'll see the first one come through, and you'll see that it'll stop and it won't go anywhere in the browser. So when you switch over to Burp, you'll see the proxy and the intercept will kind of highlight. Click on those, and then you'll see the information that is trying to be sent. go ahead and click forward, and it'll basically let that packet go out, and then the next one will go through, and you'll be able to see it in the browser. One thing that I like to do is click the intercept button, and then that way you can just go ahead and browse through the application, and you'll be able to see the history of what's going on. And then with things that you find interesting, it's getting a little brighter in here, so everybody's like kind of screaming, oh gosh, sun. Right click, and then you have all these options: send to intruder, send to repeater, send to sequencer, etc. You also have the target, where you can basically see the hierarchy and select things in there. Same thing, right click, and you can send it to the different attack areas. How are we doing on time? Okay, cool. Like I said, there's also the spider. You have several different options here. So what you'll do is you'll send it to the spider, and then you'll basically tell it to spider site, and it'll click all the links for you and get you the target. And so then you can just switch back there and take a look at that. So once you've click through the application and you see something interesting, you'll probably want to send it to the repeater so you can modify it and change it. So right click, click repeater, and then you'll want to modify it as desired, and then you'll click go. You'll have several options down here for looking at the response that came back. You've got raw, headers, hex, HTML, and then you also have a render, which will go ahead and render images and all kinds of other things that are showing up on the page. So let's see. So as you can see here, what I did was, and I'll show this a little bit later with the demo and explain more of what's going on. But I modified the parameter value, parameter1 underscore value, from the default path that was there to a slash. And so essentially what I've done is I've modified it from saying, hey, we're going to go look at the regular public directory, and now we're going to be able to look at root. And as you can see here, there's mount, bin, and all the other folders, and now we've basically kind of done a directory traversal and been able to get the application do something it should. Talking a little bit about what's showing up. No, I'm kind of getting in the way here, but so this is the raw information that's coming back. You can see you've got all your HTML and your JavaScript, so you can kind of see exactly what's going on and find other areas that you want to poke. You have your headers, so is it a post, is it a get, that kind of thing. What kind of document is it that you're looking at? Sometimes you'll get JPEGs and you'll see the header information for that. So like this one is has the breakout for hex, so you can look at actually what character it is exactly. So if you need to analyze it a little bit more, you can. Then you have your HTML, kind of does a pretty little coloring, making sure everything's good. You get comments in green, codes broken out as red and blue, and then of course you got the render again. And all you gotta do is just click these tabs and it'll bring that up. Are we good? Anybody got any questions? Okay, cool. Let's see. I think I actually put another thing in here. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is the intruder. The intruder basically allows you to take word lists, or you can poke the application based on the different variables. So you right-click back on the site or the history, and you say send to intruder. Then what happens is, and this is just the example one, it'll basically take the entire page and it'll parse out things that it sees are variables. So here you've got P3 equals the first variable, P4 is the second variable. So then you have different types of attacks that you can run. So you have the spider, the battering ram, pitchfork, and cluster bomb. Normally the ones that I use are the spider or the pitchfork. The spider is basically taking one variable and taking a word list and just firing it at that parameter and seeing what do you get back. the pitchfork will basically do two of them. So an example of that would be like a username and password. So you do admin, cycle through a list of passwords, and see what happens. So once you do that, you'll click, basically, you select the attack you want, add your word list in, then you'll go to Intruder. It's up at the top, and then you'll click Start Attack. It'll give you a warning, hey, this is going to be throttle, it's not going to be as fast as Pro version. Just click OK, it'll be good. It'll cycle through the different attacks, or the different word lists, and then it'll give you some information about the results. So as you can see here, we've got, it basically tried passwords in here. So it has test, word, password, password 1. Notice over here, it has a status. So we all got 200s. You could use this for verifying that the actual page is there. So if you're doing like a directory traversal, like PHP, question mark, URL, slash something, you could verify that certain pages are coming back or which ones aren't. Over here, it shows you the size. So notice that all of these have 200s. All of these over here on the length have 360, 360, 360, 360. Then we have a 387. Well, if you notice, I clicked on the one with a 387, and now it shows success. You've gotten through the portal. So you can look at tendencies like that to see, hey, there's something different about when you enter that, and then you can go back and you can do a render, and you have all the other features that were explained earlier here to see what exactly is going on, and did you actually get something useful.
Question?
Yes.
Is there a way to write a rule that looks for those discrepancies that way I don't have to actually worry about that?
Worry about looking at this here?
Yeah.
Yes. The question was, is there a way to write a rule so that I can basically not have to go through the list and look through all these discrepancies? My best answer for that would be you could probably hit the length and it would organize them.
No, I mean, like, I don't want to look at it at all.
You don't want to look at it at all?
No. I mean, something like this is supposed to reduce the time.
Yes.
If I have, that word list is 7 words. If it's 7,000 words.
Right.
I mean, I know you can sort it, but is there a way that you can tell Burp that says, like a matching rule? Like if we already know what a successful account authentication is?
Yes, inside of Intruder,
all right.
matching rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the answer was from the audience was that yes, you can use regex in order to do that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about just briefly was the decoder. Basically, what this allows you to do is, let's say you get some hex on a page or some base 64, you can basically decode that. Just put it in here, and then you select the option that you wanted to decode it as on the right. Then you have the comparer, which is basically you can put in, send things to this, and then you can compare the actual packets. So this could be useful if you were looking at maybe a GIF file and seeing if anything was different, maybe some steganography, something you found on Google, is it actually really the same on the site, or have they modified bits? Just kind of wanted to, basically go over a little bit of the features of the APIs. You can process, modify HTTP requests. You've got, different things that you can hook into with the HTTP proxy target map scanner. They have a lot of sample code out there already. There's about 4 or 5 of them already on the site. Like I said, I haven't played too much with this. Is there anybody more experienced that has done anything with the Burp API that might want to comment?
What was the question?
Has anybody worked with the Burp API at any extent that might want to make a comment, whether it's useful?
It's very useful if you want to tie in your own custom code to do things. For example, when WXF was still an active project, we used a lot of the API to actually do things inside of the WXF framework to automate Burp to do other tasks. So
Okay.
you can write your own code, call the API and do whatever you want. Basically, make little oxymon rules or whatever you want to do.
Very good.
It's handy.
So the answer, just for the people viewing, it is very useful for if you have other frameworks that you're trying to send information into Burp or do work with that. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. All right, so demo time. Basically, the way it's set up here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run through the basic work of the demo, and then we'll switch over to my laptop and attempt to show just running a few commands with the backdoor that I kind of created. All right, so basically what I found on my network, I purchased this, a few months, or actually back in 2010, just to kind of do movies and allow me and my roommates to basically, send files to each other. If we're playing a game, we can just throw them on there, that kind of stuff. Found out that there was, some problems. This is basically the network that we had set up. I've got a script that basically goes through and scans all these devices. Turns out that there is a vulnerability in IOMegaNAS that I found when I first scanned the network, and but there's not a lot of description about it. This is just the CVE details. So I kind of got really excited, and I was like, all right, let's figure out, what's going on with this. Didn't really look anywhere further, but then later on, I did find out that there is a full description about a vulnerability where you can look for CGI bin, and then the actual script that they're using for the web interface allows you to do directory traversal. So just disclaimer, this isn't my exploit. Someone has already found this. I'm not trying to take credit for it. I'm just trying to show the approach that I used and how I used Burp in order to take over the device and get root. So this script is out on GitHub. Basically what it does is this is just basically simple Nmap scanner. It looks at Macs that are on the list of already on my network. If there's a new Mac, it goes ahead and compares it to the old list and says, all right, yeah, I see you new. Goes ahead and scans it, reps it out, and sends me an email. So I got an email and saw, okay, well, hey, this NAS has got, once I finished setting all this up, it's got port 80, it's got, the regular, Apple file sharing, Windows file sharing. Maybe I should take a look at it and see, what this is actually doing. Do I still want to have this on my network? Could it be, a problem? So what I did was I first, just logged into public. No authentication needed. It's, just a folder they have there for throwing files on. I didn't really use it too much. We had logins for each person. But I wanted to, do this as if someone didn't have access to the device and see what they could do. So I went ahead and sent it to the repeater. Then, like I showed earlier, I modified the value for where it was pulling the files and put a slash there, and I was able to see everything that was there. But I wanted to take it a little bit further. I didn't want to just be looking at the files. So what I did was I did a traversal to the location where the CGI bin was at. I wrote a basic backdoor, just a simple bash script, and then I attempted to upload that. And so I was able to upload it, but it kept failing. The interface was horrible. So what I did was I went back to the public and looked at what was being uploaded, and I went back to the repeater and then sent that upload of just a basic file into the public folder to the repeater. So then I took the file that was being uploaded. I modified the name of it for a file that I wanted. I put in the code that I wanted, which is the basic backdoor, and I made sure that it was going to be uploaded into CGI bin instead of public. So then once I did that, I was able to really look at what was running. As you can see, the first thing I did was I did a, sorry, I want to back up for a second there, was a check for, who am I? So it says I'm running as root, and now I can run commands here just as if I was running as root. I can do an ls, I can do an if config, I can do pings and things like that. So there's the code. I'll go ahead and finish the slides, and then I'll switch over to my laptop to show a few things, and if anybody has any questions, we can kind of walk through it. So is this still a problem? I did a simple Google search. Yes, there are people that are sharing their NASs out on the internet, via port 80 or some other port forwarding, and it is the same version and has the same problems. Most of these people I've tried to look up do who is on stuff. It's kind of hard to find them, but I sent them some emails just to let them know, hey, you've got a problem. So let's, if we could go ahead and switch over to my laptop so we can show the actual exploit running. Yeah. Oops. Everybody able to see that okay? Alright. Okay, so basically what I've got here is my bookmarks and history that won't close. This is the actual NAS. I've got it, for those that are streaming, I basically just have it setting up here with a simple router wired into my laptop. This is I've done a directory traversal here. I've got the actual script running here. So you can do run who am I, shows them root. If config, I can see other network interfaces. Can do an ls, shows what's in there.
What happens if you do an ARM RF store?
This demo would be done. So.
Repeat it for the stream.
Oh, the question was what is the way that I can't talk today? Basically, what if I do an rm-rf star? So, and I said basically, demo would be over. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I did. And like I said, I just uploaded it, did a using Burp here. So one of the things that I'd like to do is to be able to get a little more graphically appeasing, be able to do pivots a little bit better, because if people are sharing this out on their net, on the internet, you could basically go in, upload this to their NAS, and then you'd be able to pivot to other places on their network. Yeah, question.
Free cloud storage.
What's that? Yes, free cloud storage. So pretty much I could store anything there. Build my own little botnet, but.
What's the processor and stuff in there?
Oh yes, so it is an ARM processor. Yeah, I'll actually show that. Yeah, so. Purpose. Oops. Tech A. Yeah, there we go. Oops. So yeah, it's running ARM. It's Debian. No, not too advanced. But
Is that a package manager?
I've tried to get the package manager to work, but it seems to be crashing every time I try and do it. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. But it seems to have apt-get, but it doesn't. For some reason, I can't be able to add anything to it. Yeah. So.
Does this have the capacity to do SSH by default? Like, is there any sort of SSH capability in that NAS?
There is an ability to SSH from this NAS to another device. However, it doesn't seem to have SSH running by default, and I wasn't able to get that service to start up. But yeah, I did try that. I was also trying to get Netcat to run, but I was having troubles with being able to get it to start and things like that.
Is there any built-in accounts?
Yeah.
Passwords?
Yeah, you can kind of see that. So let's see. Do cat.
So on IRC also asks if it had any IP tables.
IP tables, we can check that as well.
Who's Adam Leonard?
That's my roommate.
Doc start.
Has he changed his password recently?
You should know.
Let's see. All right. Well.
You take your cat.
Oh, thank you. Seems not to be working. So.
Can you repeat which device this is again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Like the ARM? Was that
The actual.
The actual thing that you're logging into.
the actual NAS? It's a iOmega. I can show it up right there. It's just a 1 terabyte iOmega NAS that basically I got off of Amazon. So it's the other thing to note too is this only affects I believe it was version. Don't quote me on this. Let me go back here. Having a moment. Let's see. Yeah, so anything before version 2.1, this would be an issue for. So they have updated it, but obviously there are still, iOmega NAS sitting out on the internet people haven't updated, just by the fact that this is a home device. One of the problems I do see is, people put things on their network, and this is me speaking from experience. Is in. Oh, still going on? Okay. All right. I've seen instances in pen tests that I've done where people basically put a device on their network and they're like, okay, this is great for movie media, and then they're like, well, what else can we get it to do? And then they start putting documents on there, and then they're like, all right, well, we can put maybe a password list for the entire network there, or we can put our family pictures on there as well, and then that becomes a real problem with privacy and obviously the accounts have no effect. That was the one pen test I had where there was basically backup information stored on there and people were getting it. Yeah, question from the audience.
You have is GCC on here?
Yes.
Ability to compile scripts?
Yes, GCC is on here. Let me go ahead and switch back over to it.
I think it would be interesting to through this remote, even if you had it local, but to essentially use this device as a proxy so that if I have a C2 channel,
yes,
I can essentially post this and the proxy, that we've compiled will then forward it to my machine, and we just use the ones that are found on Google. And then you have distributed C2 through NAS devices.
Right. Okay. For those streaming, basically, the idea is to basically set up proxy servers using GCC. I'm sorry. What was the tool that you were saying?
If you have like a basic proxy script, it's just have it relay the information to a backend that you configure and essentially acts as a broker between you and the C2 channel. Yeah.
So you could basically set up the ability to do different proxies and have your own proxy network and cloud.
If you get questions, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the question?
The question was, does this have GCC?
No, I meant Rob's question.
Oh, Rob's question was, if you have questions recursively, repeat the question and then repeat the question again. Yes. So.
How often do you cluster bomb when you're attacking?
I try not to do that a lot, but I've done it in labs before. Normally to troll other people. So.
What does it do? What does it do?
For this,
no, for cluster bomb, like with the attack that was on there.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, oh yeah. How often do I cluster bomb?
That cursor is mind blowing, by the way.
Oh yeah, you like it?
Is it a what? Is it a glider?
Yeah, it's some kind of glider. It's something I got off of the KDE cursor store.
Wait.
No, it's a free store. Or like you just say get cursors in it. I don't know. Google Play Store just has some free stuff too. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, that was you were asking about the Intruder, right? Payloads. Okay. So we have the cluster bomb. You know what? Honestly, I haven't used this in a long time for the cluster bomb.
It has to do with how you want to send the different payloads. If you have more than one field that you want to manipulate at one time. So if you got a username and password, you want to iterate through the username and the passwords, or both at the same time. There's just the 4 different attacks change up how Burp is going to order those attacks.
Okay. The answer was basically the cluster bomb is just a different way of iterating through the different word lists. So if you have a username and then you want to go through the passwords, or if you want to go through the usernames and then the password, cluster bomb is just a different way to go about doing that. So yeah, it would be useful. A lot of what I'm doing, though, I would use a different tool for that. But I mean, it is useful for doing that kind of stuff. If you don't have the other access to the other tools. I have heard of some people that they just get Burp and they don't have the ability to use other tools on the network as far as being approved. So a lot of what I do is the manual poke this, do this, or going through and trying the different passwords.
Have you set up a showdown search for these devices?
You know what? I thought about doing that, but I ended up just doing the Google search because I was wanting to try and focus on more of the demo. But we should definitely do that. So, I mean, we got 30 minutes. I guess I can log in there and see.
Do people still use Paros anymore? Like I've been checked out of WebWorld and doing this sort of stuff, but I know Paros was like kind of parallel with Burp Suite for a little bit.
I honestly haven't used that, so I don't really know.
I've used both for a while. I ended up using Burp just because it's more functional.
Okay. Yeah. The question was, does anybody use Paros anymore? What exactly is Paros? So that we can.
It's a proxy.
Okay, I didn't know if it was
limited in functionality, but
yeah.
Still Java.
Okay. Somebody mentioned that it was through the same OWASP project, but not the same thing. That's pretty much all I have. I know I finished early. Anything else you want to try? All right.